Frankly, I've talked to several of my Democratic colleagues that they're starting to be able to feel the pressure of what they've actually created. We've been very straightforward from the very beginning on this. It is what's called a clean continuing resolution. There's no partisanship in it at all. It's just keep the government open for the exact same status quo while we negotiate some of these difficult issues. We do not see a gain in trying to be able to negotiate difficult issues while members of the military aren't being paid or civilian workers are not being paid that are federal workers. Why are we harming federal workers and their families while we're trying to negotiate things out? So we have said once again, let's just keep it open exactly where we are right now. Let's keep negotiating all the issues, but let's let everybody still get paid and let folks get back to work. We think that's a pretty reasonable position while we continue to be able to negotiate issues.
Senator, you even said, what a painful, ridiculous waste of time for the nation. I can't tell you how frustrating it is. Senator, I have family who are active military who are impacted by this, and they're just as frustrated, and they're maybe potentially looking at getting backup jobs. Don't you feel like both Republicans and Democrats share the responsibility of making this happen?
You know, at times I do. This time I do not. If I go back to the last 4 Septembers, all the way through the Biden administration, every time we got to a September and we couldn't get to an agreement, we did a continuing resolution, kept the government open. Republicans agreed with Democrats. Let's keep it open. Let's keep moving this. That was every single time during the Biden administration. Now, during the Trump administration, Democrats have said they've got to be able to show the resistance to Trump. And the leverage point they have are federal workers and members of the military and their families. I've talked to some folks even in the last 24 hours that they're in the process of deploying overseas with our military, but they're worried about taking care of their family. They're literally away, but their family's not going to get that paycheck coming into the bank. That is a major issue. I have also for years had a bill that's called Preventing Government Shutdowns. Last time this bill came up, we had 57 votes for it. We were literally 3 votes shy. We need a very few more Democrats to be able to come on board, and it would literally prevent government shutdowns from ever happening. The way the bill's framed is it just keeps Congress at work, keeps us in our status quo spending while we negotiate things out, but prevents us from moving to anything else other than appropriation bills when we get to a moment like this. It basically puts us in a box and says, you guys got to do your work, but the rest of the country is held harmless. We were so close to getting that passed in the last session. We need just a few more Democrats to be able to come on board, but we couldn't get them at that point. So we're going to keep going back and say, let's take government shutdowns off the table forever.
I want to talk about this really quick. We just passed a 2-year mark for the war in Gaza. Wednesday, President Trump says Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of a peace plan. In your words, last night you quoted the president saying, hallelujah. Talk about this. Do you think that this will eventually lead to the release of hostages?
That is our first prayer on this. I have to tell you, the first stage of the deal was Israel would release some of their prisoners on it, but Hamas would release all of their hostages. Those hostages are scheduled to come out as soon as this weekend. If those hostages come out, I can't imagine the overwhelming joy for all those family members that have been waiting for these folks that have been held in just horrific, unimaginable pain for the last 2 years. So yes, it was absolutely my first response was hallelujah, that this could finally be coming to an end for both the people of Gaza who are being held hostage by Hamas there, and then also the Israelis that have literally been held hostage by Hamas for the last 2 years.
Senator, I know you have a big heart for those individuals, but also for our veterans. And I know that you were just in D.C. You're in D.C. right now, but for the Oklahoma Warriors honor flight. And so I want to thank you for shaking their hands. And, sir, we saw you out there, and we really appreciate that. Those are some special individuals that served our country.
Yeah, some very special folks who were so good to be able to see them. I snuck away from the Capitol for just a little while to make sure I could shake their hand and make sure they heard thank you from not just me, but from our whole state to say thanks for your service.
Absolutely. Senator Lankford, thank you for always making yourself available to 2 News Oklahoma. We so appreciate your time. Have a blessed day.
Thank you as well. Keep praying for the nation.